All right. Hello and welcome back. So I decided to record. We're going to do our due diligence, make sure that we have a VOD review. I did upload just a normal VOD, but this is a game that I just played, so it's a little bit more up to how I am playing right now. I do often just record stuff in advance and just see, maybe I want to upload just a pack game, but I have been grinding. I have been asking people for help. I've been getting a little bit of help from people. I'll shout out down below the main person that's been helping me. But we do want to just play ground this game. I'm looking. I get the babies. I pay attention to a couple of different things here, but it's mainly just getting pairs, looking for ground units, looking for baby, and unfortunately, with all these pairs, we don't get what we want. So it's gonna take us a little while to really figure it out. It's mostly just gonna be surviving the early game and then doing a proper transition into the comp that looks the best. So right off the bat, I'm looking to get rid of the Charmanders, the Poliwags, focus on the Geodude. If we can get Graveler, Swinub, Mudkip, then this wouldn't be that bad of an early game. Alright, so we do get a black glasses in the spear around, and then here I'm immediately dashing for that heart scale so that we can make a Pokédoll. Heart scale builds into a lot of really good items for ground, so anytime I play it, I'm like, okay, well, it's possible. At this point, I'm way too frustrated, so I just reroll down to 10. We do manage to hit Graveler, and we are staying at 10 gold, and we're just going to go with Rock 2 to start, and we're going to keep Flabebe for utility. This is a very interesting game because 6 out of the 8 splash dark or go full dark this game. Here I do make a little bit of a mistake. I think I make the Stardust a little too early here. I think that there's a couple of units that actually do like using it, but I am trying to understand items just a little bit deeper, and you're gonna see me hold a lot of items. That's just how I'm starting to adapt to it. And here, I mean, this guy's team obviously isn't that great, so we don't have to worry too much about it, but we are gonna lose a couple of these rounds. But in terms of just like early game strategy, we do have Graveler throwing in a lot of damage, having a lot of sustain with Pokédoll and Stardust, so we're not going to lose too much HP, I don't think, in this early stage. Yeah, here I see Zora holding a magnet, so I go for the magnet. It can help make another really good item, which is the muscle band. I'm just going for default items that I know will be good. So with the black glasses, we can at least make a wonder box, I think is what it's called. I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. And I do just think about items here a little bit, but there's really not too much going on here. I do forget the rule of 4, but I'm also not looking to buy anything specific because we're at 20 gold. So we're just going to go into the next PvP round. And we hit babies, so it's another free round here for us. We do get to just play for econ, play for HP. Sorry, play with decent HP here. We're playing for econ, so if we do lose health, it's okay, but hitting a baby round is actually really good. This guy I think is going to end up getting the Sandile, which is going to enable him to play dark. And as the game progresses, you're just going to see more and more dark types. Here we're at 29, so I go ahead and I try and just make a better pair here with the Piplup. As we start scouting, we see a Darkstone, and we see a Nuzleaf there. So it's starting to happen. I'm thinking, well, Rock 6 would be really good this game, right? And like, if I knew, because here we're hitting the Dusclops and Impidimp, so that's dark. There's like 4 dark units here, if not all 5. And so I'm just getting ran over. So if I just knew ahead of time that it wouldn't just be 1 or 2 people playing dark, Rock 6 probably would have been a really good comp to go this game. But no, we are going to end up playing Ground 8. And we're going to just stick to our game plan, which is just to understand the depths of itemization and thinking about how we want to use our gold early, mid, and late. I previously did play a game where I was going for Torkoal. Torkoal's going to be my goal because he's pretty good item holder in the early to mid game, and that should give me extra wins in the mid game leading into late. late game, I'll be able to get either the Steelix or I can get the camera up. And then from there, I'll be able to itemize late game units. So I'm trying to find those avenues. And since I didn't get Torkoal in my previous game, I actually ended up going for a Swampert, putting 3 items on it. I got Stone Joiner, so things got a little awkward, but we did really good that game. And then here you can see Nuzleaf Duskull again. That, like, again, this is why VOD reviewing is really good. I probably could have just gotten away with going Rock 6 this game and just calling it a day. I might have placed lower because the overall defenses weren't there. But then we also see Sentret, and you know, I love Sentret. It also holds a heart scale, so it's just meant to be. We're gonna throw in I think we're going for ground 4 at this point. So we're going for ground 4. We have Sentret to give us a little bit more defense, and the Muscle Band's going to go on Graveler. I'm also going to hold Geodude, looking for an opportunity to make another Graveler. I'm not going to go as far as Golem this game, but I am going to try and do my best to just be strong and stable in the early to mid, leading into the first unique pick. Now, another thing that you might have noticed is that there are Slugma, Tyrant, there's rock types in the pool here, and this guy actually does end up going rock, but guess what? I'm pretty sure there's a guy that goes rock and then he gets some dark stones and he ends up having dark splash anyways. So it's a very interesting game in terms of like where I stand compared to the rest of the lobby, because everyone splashed dark at least 3 to 5, and I think there's only one guy that only went 3. And it's because he had as like a secondary, and I think he was more stuck on bug and he didn't get the unique he wanted, so he was stuck with more Pekka. We're gonna see that player here soon, but for the most part it's 5 to 7 dark on the rest of the lobby. And here Graveler just goes absolutely berserk with the 3 items and manages to kill 3 in overtime without losing that much health. So super happy about that. That's a good sign when you're getting rounds like that in the early game, I would assume. And then for Gyarados, I keep taking the chance with this. It's actually kind of doomed if you're just running level 4 without Evos. I've had some awkward baby transitions because I just didn't have anything to put on board. So it's another thing I'm starting to become more wary of. Obviously, when I started playing, I was just hitting 5 because we hit a good opportunity to go 5. Usually in TFT, you're hitting level 5, and I now am getting a better understanding of like what Gyarados' damage output is, and obviously how to position for it. So we managed to take out Gyarados here, no problem. And with another heart scale, we are now going into the unique pick round. And I'm searching for a ground fire, giving myself 2 opportunities, I guess you could say, to get the Torkoal. And I've been getting pretty lucky with this. I'm getting less and less afraid to do the travel to get a optimal portal, I guess you could say. And we do hit the Torkoal. Now I'm really happy here. And I think we hit on like the fire portal. It's really, like, let me know down below just exactly how this works, because I know that you want to get as many of the synergies for that unit so you get the most amount of odds, but it's really hard to describe it to somebody else. We also see the Burmy here. And I'm like, okay, well, if Burmy's in my pool, then we can go Vibrava Wormadam again. So I'm rolling down right now because I want another Graveler so I can sell this one and put items on Torkoal, because 2 of Torkoal's best items are on Graveler right now. We can get a lot more mileage out of putting it on Torkoal for the most part. But again, the biggest issue that I'm going to run into is just the dark units. So because I hit Piloswine, I decided to go ahead and just do the sell. We're still going to keep Geodude because default, the way we want to default these games is that we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to put in the best possible traits. And so rock being really important to ground synergy, I want to at least keep myself open to that. I don't want to lose that. And this is the comp where I'm getting ran over by more Pekka plus a bunch of bugs. So I'm assuming this guy didn't get the unique portal that he wanted, and he ended up just running into this. And here you can see Arcane is also in the pool. I could have definitely gotten away with a rock team this game, but I actually get super lucky here and I hit an early Ferret, and that makes me happy because I love Ferret. I love just the ability to shield multiple units, and I'm getting a lot of Dittos as well. So I'm going ahead, I'm taking a bit of a loss here, but in exchange for that loss, I am sort of saving the amount of time that I'm going to have at level 5. And a technique that I'm trying to carry over is just grabbing units of the same cost and then rolling for what I'm actually looking for. I'm not quite sure if that's how it works in this game, but assuming it's very similar to TFT, that it's been working for me, so I'm just going to keep doing it. But yeah, if you have any insight as to exactly how the spawn odds work, if it's a limited pool or not, how big the pool is, do let me know down below. So we're back on another carousel round. I do have 2 heart scales, so I'm getting a little awkward with just how my setup is. The magnet is taken, but there is an open never melt ice, so I go ahead and I lag and grab that. And now I have a second where was it called? The Poke Doll. I have the second Poke Doll. There's also the green orb that's super important for comps like this. If I have the opportunity to get it, I go for it, but because I have the 2 heart scales, I'm just going to go ahead and do it because my team's going to be much stronger regardless of which of the 2 items I get. And then if I get a wonder box later, I think there's one round later where I do actually end up hitting a green orb, which helps my team out a lot. And auto chess is really, for me, about just doing the best with what you have available and not worrying too much about BIS, which is like best in slot for a unit. So even though Torkoal's not necessarily going to carry me late game, putting the 2 items on it now, making it as strong as possible now, because it's going to be my strongest unit for a little while, even if it doesn't pay off every single round, it's going to at least be better than if I had it on a inferior unit. And here Ferret absolutely clutches up, providing my team with shields, and through the smog we are able to just take out the rest of that team. And it's another dark team. I mean, at this point I've faced dark multiple rounds in a row, surely. If not, I hope you get used to it, because there's a guy, I think that might have been the guy playing Lunatone, but there's a lot of dark teams. So I decide that Piloswine here is not going to make it to late game. I'm going to go ahead and just let it hold the items for now so that it's doing the most. I'm also moving my entire team into the back line so that it's a little easier to deal with the dark teams. And just look at it. Just look, every single team that I pan over has at least a couple of dark units. And here's another one. Another team full of dark. This guy got Sableye. And again, my team's just going to get rolled over most of the time. This guy is the one that I said was going to have Sandile. So I don't really have too many options here. The caveat and the saving grace of this game is that while I'm not going to do that well against most of the dark teams are also going to kill each other. And this guy plus the guy in last place, they're going to end up losing a lot of HP to the other people in the lobby. So I'm not necessarily in a bad position here because I'm still 75 HP. So if we're all bleeding, I'm going to bleed out last. I also locked down the Trap Pinch so that I can get that plus Burmy. That's becoming more of a staple as I'm trying to explore the different types of ground comps. I would also like to play Camerupt here, especially because I have Torkoal. So Camerupt is kind of my goal. Camerupt's pretty good with Stardust, so I'm just thinking ahead to what I want. And I think this game I'm going to have Camerupt and Steelix on the board. And then I'll have the Vibrava Burmy to add a couple more units onto the board as well. That's more defensive than anything. I got the Charcoal because, again, Groudon is always an option. And Landorus actually also does pretty well with the Red Orb. So I'm just, again, Legendary plus the 2 Ultras. I'm going to throw them onto the board. I'm keeping the Torkoal. I'm keeping the Sentret. Everything else is up in the air right now. So right now, the 4 units that I'm absolutely going to keep are Burmy, Trapinch, Torkoal, and Ferret. And then we're going to add in at least Camerupt, Steelix, and then 2 other open slots for Ground 8, one of which will be the Legendary. I think this game, we actually got Landorus. And so here we go, another Ghost plus Ghost plus Dark team. This is the same guy from earlier who has a really good Dusclops build. And yeah, I'm just getting lucky here at this point. I don't know what to tell you. Because my team's just getting ran over. And luckily no one was playing Ghost 8. That would have been probably more annoying if we had a full lobby of Ghost 8 players, because then it doesn't matter how much defense I have. We do hit the Burmy, and I'm thinking about how I want to do this. Graveler, Cubone, I think will still be better than Trapinch Burmy right now. And I am even considering keeping the Cubone and maybe playing around Marowak later. These are the options that I'm trying to throw out there. Again, let me know down below what you guys think about building a ground 8 around Furret and Torkoal, going into at least Camerupt later. We do end up with 2 rock if we keep Graveler in, and if we get Rhydon, which we actually don't end up doing this game, we probably would have been able to at least look for a rock 4 at level 9, but because that really wasn't that much of an option for me here, we probably cap out at 8 and then just try and make sure that we have the units that we want. And here we get jumped by the dark type Stantler team, and again it's really awkward. I don't know why they're doing all of this. I mean, I have a guess, because a certain somebody uploaded another dark game. There's actually two people uploaded a dark game yesterday, so it might just be people watching videos and then wanting to play dark. Maybe it's just because dark is good. I mean, dark's pretty good. I like playing dark. Every time I play dark, I probably go top 4, unless I'm doing something stupid. So I just don't know what to tell you. This is a really weird anomaly. I don't think I've ever had this many people play the same comp before in like my month plus of playing the game. So here we're able to hit level 7 pretty easily, and I do that so that I can put in basically 3 more units. It'll be the Trapinch, the Burmy, and then an extra Trapinch or an extra Burmy, depending. We do see the second Burmy, so I go ahead and grab it. And again, I'm holding a Pokédoll because I'm not quite sure what unit I'm going to throw it on, and I'm not quite sure how much wiggle room I'm going to have on this team for more units. Cubone, unbeknownst to me at this point, is probably the unit I would want to put it on right now, because I'm not going to use it forever. But being in the game, it's very different trying to figure that out. And here we're up against the Lunatone team, and we seem to be doing pretty good. I realized Barbarnacle is actually ranged, and I started to get a little worried about that. But luckily, we do take them out with the Piloswine AoE fast enough in order to get on the Barbarnacle and end the round. So we're staying top 4, still above 60 HP. We're staying above 50 gold, and we're just waiting for a good opportunity to push to 8. Comp's pretty stable, I would say. Comp's pretty stable. I don't think I check the damage charts too much, but there is something interesting that I do later on in the game that's kind of a gamble. All right, so our last round before Luigi, that's what I call Lugia, we're up against the Morpeko bug team again. And with Drapion put in, I think that adds another dark bug, and we're just getting ran over for the most part. Luckily, Cubone survives its 1v1, and we have 3 units now to attack the Morpeko. And because Morpeko has the blue orb and all of that attack speed, we're in a massive death match here, where at any time one of us could drop, and we just managed to beat him. And now we're currently in first place. We have the highest HP. We're winning the most rounds that we can, and at this point I'm very confused by the team comp, of course. But we're gonna go ahead, drop down to 50. We're gonna fight the tower duo, and let's see what we got. All right, so Magnet is actually huge here. So we're gonna look for our portal. I see multiple grounds, so I'm like, okay, well, that just gives me every option available. We're gonna go ahead and go into the ground portal. And something very interesting here, we hit level 8. Also, we want to push for 8 on this round so that we can have our strongest possible comp. And I start to get a little confused. Now I have Zygarde, Groudon, and Landorus. I'm thinking about stats. I'm thinking about which one of these would be the best. But then overall, I realize Landorus has the best possible item combination here in the upgrade. So we're going to end up going Landorus this game. So positioning is obviously not going to be perfect. We're up against literally 4 Dark 7 comps. So I'm thinking about what my options are here, and I'm starting to focus on the ultras. We need to get Onyx, and we need to get Numel, and we need to start building it up. I see a Ditto, so I lock the board. And at this point, we're going to start to see everyone's comps go into fruition. So I think this is the guy that played Dragon Dart. It's pretty obvious because he has the Guzzlord. And while we are doing a lot of damage, the attack speed and the fact that we're down to our weaker units, and also my Landorus randomly dying, we do end up losing that round. So here I'm buying Ultra units, and I am buying Dittos. We do get a couple of them. And buying the Ultra units allows me to at least hold 5 gold at all times while I'm rolling down, so I can stay above a certain amount. And the reason why I passed that Ditto was because I didn't really plan on doing more than just focusing on getting one of my Ultras on board. Now that I'm at 20 HP, I think that in order to survive the rest of this game, the biggest thing that I need to do is make sure I don't run out of gold. So I'm going to try and stay above 10 to 20 gold for the rest of the game until I hit the units that I'm looking for. We have a much better round here with the Landorus in the back. And we managed to roll over the... I think this guy is obviously playing rocks with his... I think a couple people did, but it's like a rock dark team. It's hard to keep track, really. All right, so on this carousel, I'm looking at the red orb as well as those pauldrons. I'm pretty sure the pauldrons reduce crit damage, so I thought it would be a really sneaky pick for here. But obviously, everybody in the lobby is playing against the same comp, so somebody does snag it from me last minute. So I think about my options. It's 3 stones and a red orb. So obviously, the best option is the red orb, right? Or the fire orb, right? So we got the flame orb. And I'm like, okay, we can do something with this because it's gonna at least amp damage, but I don't want it on a carry because if I put it on a carry, then their uptime's gonna be a lot lower than it needs to be. So I do some rolling, I find Onyx, and obviously I'm not gonna sell the Onyx, right? I'm thinking about putting Onyx in, and so I put it in over Cubone. We're gonna sell the Cubones. Now we have Rock 2 at least to help us out here in the later stages of the game. And again, I don't want to Flame Orb it. That's not a good idea. So we're going to Flame Orb Vibrava because at the very least, Vibrava is going to be a fairly strong unit. And I'm thinking about selling something to make 20 here. We do have 2 Onyx. We could just Ditto for the 3rd one. But here we're up against Mega Sableye and the Crocodile. And so obviously we're not going to do that well against him. But again, he's 19 HP, I'm 35. So chances are I'm going to win out against him. And again, in terms of overall HP, I'm still the highest in the game. After the rounds disperse. So I'm getting a little impatient here, obviously. I go ahead and I use one of my Dittos on the Onyx, so we at least have Steelix, and then I put the Polka Dot on Steelix because the camera items are currently on Piloswine, so I'm at least able to keep up with those items. I also consider throwing a single crit item onto Landorus, but I don't think 1 crit item is going to be enough, even with the attack speed. And so here we're up against another Mega Sableye, we're up against Darkrai, Dusclops, Zweilous. I don't think we do too bad against this team. And yeah, just like that, that's another Dark player down at 3 HP. And if you notice, the Crocodile player is also down at 3 HP. So like I said, even if we're both bleeding, he's going to bleed out before me. Let's see, Happiny, grab it, roll. Another Happiny, we're going to just keep rolling, sell it for 5 gold. We're going to roll down for 5 more rerolls. And then I think we lock the board with Swablu on it just so that we can do it again next round. We're on the Zapdos round. Not too much that I need to worry about right now. And whatever this item is going to basically determine my fate, I think. We do still need Camerupt, and Landorus only has 1 item. So we're hoping for a really good item here. And we see a Wonder Box. Now, Cleanse Tag would have worked here too. Stardust would have worked here too, but I just decided to go for the Wonder Box. I think the Cleanse Tag would have definitely worked better. We do see a second Ditto, so we lock the board. And now we basically just have to roll for a Numel. And if we get that, then we're going to be in a good position to top 4. The top 4 is very obtainable this game. We're at 35 HP and half of the lobby has to lose. So here we're up against Moltres, which is very troublesome. I'm pretty sure it's the guy that ends up winning the whole game. So I mean, Moltres is really good. Not too much to say here. He also has the Barbarical, and he does have Rock 3, so he's pretty strong here. We're gonna take that loss. We're gonna buy the Ditto because we do have enough gold to get it and still have the income. We're gonna roll down. We see Sable, and we're just gonna roll at this point. We absolutely need to do this. Obviously, we're not going for a Mega Steelix. That's just not possible with the stage that we are in the game. Going 9 is also an option. It probably would have been better in hindsight to go for level 9, because then we just have increased odds. That might be a massive misplay on my part, but again, I'm fighting nothing but dark comps, and I don't know if we have enough uptime to actually win rounds the way that we are now. So even though we did win a couple of rounds, it's a lottery which dark player I get. With like, some of them are beating me, some of them aren't. It's a very high pressure moment, I would say. And so what we're gonna do is rely on the camera up damage and Steelix being in. Steelix did hit absolute god items this round, and we managed to easily get rid of the Frost Blast. The guy with the Crocodile is still 3 HP, and the other two are 8, so we have a really good shot of getting a good placement here in top 4. I go for the blue orb because that's a decent item on Landorus. Landorus is going to have attack speed. He'll be proccing it more than my other units. Are there other options here? Flame orb. I guess I could go for another flame orb and just absolutely burst out with one of my units, but we're going to play it as safe as possible because ground's advantage, from my understanding of how ground works, we want them to be alive as long as possible. So it's a little counterproductive to have them dying throughout the round. Even if I do have shielding from Ferret, for example, and because we have leftover components, we're just going to go ahead and slam those on Vibrava. I probably should have at this point started a Landorus though, because Landorus now has 2 decent attack speed items. So it wouldn't be the end of the world to just put a 3rd crit item on him when the game's basically over. I think that's probably a mistake. I probably should have just put that on Landorus and have Landorus do as much damage as possible. At this point, it doesn't really matter because we are, down to the last couple of rounds. Probably should have done that, but it's okay. This time, with our Onyx, with our Steelix, and with our camera up, we are able to take out the Guzzlord, and that puts us in top 2. So now we have to go up against, another dark comp. Not much that we can change up here. We are in the Suicune round. So let's just retract my previous statement. There is this Suicune round. In game, I was obviously more attentive to that. But at this point, yeah, it doesn't really matter. We're down to basically 2 RNG items here. We don't necessarily get to choose what the item is. We have a choice from 3 randoms. And I'm just rolling at this point. There's nothing for me to get. I'm just rolling. I can't hit level 9. I can't get any more upgrades. So outside of Wormadam, pretty good. I'm steadily improving, and we hit an item that's good on camera up, so we're gonna go ahead and throw that on camera up, and then we're gonna play out this last round. It's also at this point where I realized that Rhyhorn's an option, and we don't hit Rhydon, so it is what it is. We could have gone, instead of the 2 bugs, we could have gone Rhydon plus. We would need Stonjourner, I think, to do it. So, yeah, no, I think we did pretty good. Just rounding out this comp. Landorus, I could have positioned better there. But yeah, I mean, it's Moltres doing AoE damage and a bunch of Dark Rocks. We did the best that we could this game. And if you look at the lobby, you'll see in the top 5, it's a lot of Dark 7 and I think a Dark 5 playing dragons. So all in all, pretty good game for ground 8 comp, a nice simple ground 8 comp. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you have anything to add to the discussion, please do let me know. Give me any sort of tips or advice that you can after reviewing this game with me, and until the next time, I hope you take care.